Chapter 1. A brilliant idea and a terrible mistake. Buster Moon was an optimistic koala who absolutely loved the theater. However, Buster had a serious problem. His old, dusty theater desperately needed money. Suddenly, Buster came up with a brilliant idea. "I will host a huge singing competition," he announced. He asked his loyal friend, Miss Crawley, to design the promotional flyers. The original prize was supposed to be $1,000. Unfortunately, Miss Crawley made a terrible mistake. She had a glass eye, and while she was typing, her eye suddenly popped out. Because she couldn't see clearly, she accidentally typed $100,000 instead of $1,000. Buster didn't notice the massive error before the wind blew the flyers right out the window. Chapter 2. The Dreamers. Soon, animals all over the city saw the flying papers. They noticed the incredible $100,000 prize and instantly wanted to win the cash. Rosita was a hardworking pig who took care of 25 energetic baby pigs. When she saw the flyer, she realized she wanted to follow her passion for singing. Johnny, a teenage gorilla, had a very different life because his dad was a dangerous criminal. Johnny didn't want to be a thief. He secretly wanted to be a singer. Other animals saw the flyer too. Ash, a rebellious punk rock porcupine, Mike, a tiny but extremely arrogant mouse, and Mina, an incredibly shy teenage elephant. They all rushed to the theater, hoping to win the grand prize. Chapter 3. The Auditions. During the auditions, Buster carefully watched the animals perform. Some were terrible, but others were surprisingly talented. Johnny sang a beautiful melody and impressed everyone. Rosita sang nicely, but she was completely exhausted from taking care of her piglets. To help her, Buster suggested, "Dance with Gunter." Gunter was an enthusiastic, hilarious pig who loved to dance. Ash rocked out on her acoustic guitar, proving she was highly skilled. Meanwhile, Mike the mouse belted out a loud, classic tune and sounded professional. Finally, it was Mina's turn. The poor elephant was so terrified of the stage that she completely froze. Unable to sing a single note, she walked away in tears. Despite this, Buster enthusiastically told the chosen group, "You are all going to be stars." Chapter 4. Secrets and Struggles. The selected animals practiced diligently every single day. However, they all faced difficult challenges at home. Johnny was forced to skip practice to help his criminal father steal valuable items. Rosita was constantly drained of energy because her 25 piglets never stopped running around. At the same time, Buster discovered a horrifying secret. He finally looked closely at one of the flyers and gasped when he saw the $100,000 prize. "Oh no!" Buster panicked. "I don't even have $1,000. This was a massive crisis. Buster decided to keep the secret, knowing he needed to find a lot of money very quickly. Chapter 5. The Getaway Driver. Desperate for cash, Buster went to visit Nana, a legendary and incredibly wealthy former theater star. Hoping to borrow some money, he politely asked her, "Please, come see an exclusive preview of my show." Meanwhile, Johnny rushed to the theater to practice his piano routine. Unfortunately, Johnny was supposed to be the getaway driver for his dad's bank robbery. Because Johnny was busy practicing, the police easily caught his father. His dad was thrown into prison and felt furiously betrayed. Looking at Johnny from behind the iron bars, his dad yelled, "Go away! I have no son!" Chapter 6. Heartbreak and Hard Work. Ash returned to her apartment, only to find her boyfriend hanging out with a new, snobby girl. Ash was deeply heartbroken, but instead of giving up, she channeled her sadness into writing an original rock song. Back at the theater, Mina still didn't have the courage to sing, so she volunteered as a stagehand and cleaned the floors. Buster was also working tirelessly. To impress Nana, he flooded the stage with water and added glowing bioluminescent squid to make the theater look magical. He prayed that this spectacular sight would convince Nana to fund the prize money. Chapter 7. The Disaster. That evening, Nana arrived in her elegant dress and sat in the VIP section. The animals performed brilliantly, and Buster felt a wave of relief. Suddenly, a gang of violent bears smashed through the theater doors. Earlier, Mike the Mouse had cheated them out of their money, and they wanted revenge. "Give us the $100,000 you promised!" the lead bear growled at Buster. Terrified, Buster admitted, I don't actually have the money." The bears went completely crazy. In their rage, they smashed the giant glass water tank. Millions of gallons of water crashed through the building, washing every single animal out into the street. Within seconds, Buster's beautiful, historic theater collapsed into a pile of rubble. Chapter 8. Rock Bottom. Buster had lost absolutely everything. His beloved theater was completely destroyed, leaving him depressed and homeless. He moved into his friend Eddie's tiny pool house. One afternoon, Mina visited him to offer some comfort. "Please don't give up," Mina urged him. "We can still sing together." But Buster was too devastated. He refused to perform ever again. To survive, the once great theater director took a plastic bucket and a sponge, standing on the street corner to wash cars for loose change. A few weeks later, while Buster was miserably scrubbing a dirty car, he heard a melody floating through the air. The voice was absolutely breathtaking. Curious, he followed the sound all the way to the ruins of his broken theater. Sitting on the rubble was Mina, singing her heart out with her eyes closed. Buster's sadness instantly vanished. "You have the most beautiful voice I've ever heard," he cheered. Energized, Buster immediately called all the other contestants. "Let's put on the show anyway," Buster declared. "We don't have a roof, and we definitely don't have any prize money, but we still have our voices." Inspired by his passion, the animals agreed to try. Chapter 10. The Outdoor Concert. Working as a team, the animals transformed the disaster zone. They constructed a makeshift stage out of the broken concrete and decorated it with cheap string lights. When the show began, the audience consisted only of their supportive family members. Gunter and Rosita kicked off the event with a high-energy dance number. They were so incredibly entertaining that pedestrians walking down the street stopped to watch. Soon, a news helicopter noticed the crowd and broadcasted the singing pigs live on television. Within minutes, the entire city was tuning in to watch the spectacular outdoor concert. Chapter 11. Redemption. Next, Johnny confidently sat at the piano and belted out a powerful, soulful song. Over in the city prison, Johnny's dad was watching the news on a small TV. Seeing his son's amazing talent, he realized he had been a terrible father. Desperate to apologize, his dad broke out of jail, outran the police, and sprinted all the way to the outdoor theater. He tackled Johnny in a massive bear hug. "I am so sorry I didn't support you," his dad cried. "I am so incredibly proud of you." After that emotional moment, Ash stepped up and shredded her electric guitar, performing her original rock anthem. The crowd went wild, and her mean ex-boyfriend watched from the audience, completely shocked by her superstar talent. Chapter 12. A Huge Voice. Finally, it was Mina's turn to close the show. Staring at the massive crowd, she felt a familiar wave of panic. Buster smiled at her and whispered, "Don't worry about them. Just sing for yourself." Taking a deep breath, Mina opened her mouth and began to sing. Her voice was so powerful and majestic that it practically shook the city. The audience erupted into deafening cheers and applause. Nana, who had been watching from the back, was deeply moved by their resilience and talent. The next day, Nana purchased the ruined property and paid to construct a brand new, state-of-the-art theater for Buster. Thanks to their hard work, Buster and his friends had a permanent home where they could sing every single day.